Wait, you thought I wouldn't use this new channel as the way to talk about the coolest day of my life again? Hey, I'm Amanda, and you're watching Girly Pop Go. And for the first official video, the real first official video of Girly Pop Go, I was originally just going to refilm and retell the story of how I ended up getting into Lewis Hamilton's 2008 Drivers' Championship winning car from McLaren. But then I decided that it was probably better for me to just kind of repackage and recontextualize the video from when I initially put it in my Velocity Invitational view from last year, because that video was taken the night I got to Vegas, so the day after I was actually in the car. So everything's a lot more fresh. There's a couple of different anecdotes and things that I wanted to talk about from that video and that day and just the whole trip of Velocity Invitational. And I'm about to leave for Velocity Invitational again in a couple of days, so why not revisit the most fun weekend of my life. And also that video did not perform well on Swell Entertainment, and so why not repackage that chunk of that video for an audience that I think would actually care about it. How do I describe Velocity Invitational? On Google, when I search Velocity Invitational, it just calls it an event hosted in Sonoma. But Velocity Invitational is a racing invitational that happens in Sonoma, California. Last year it happened the second week of November, right before the Las Vegas Grand Prix, and McLaren, I believe, had been a sponsor of it for at least a couple of years. This year, they doesn't seem like they are a title sponsor anymore, so what I got to experience I don't think is going to happen again. But just because McLaren is not going to be a main sponsor of Velocity Invitational does not mean that it is not going to be really cool and that I didn't have fun at the event outside of what I experienced in the Mclaren Heritage garage. So I wanted to make that note though, just in case anyone's like, oh, I'm gonna go because I want to get what Amanda experienced. It probably won't happen again. That being said, there are tons of different collectors and racers that come out and bring a ton of incredible cars. You will definitely see McLarens, they just may not be the McLarens that I saw in particular. Also, none of this is in affiliation with Velocity Invitational. I just had a really good time last year and I'm going again this year, and I will take you along with me. I went to Velocity Invitational last year not for the goal of putting on a video, but for the goal of giving myself a nice birthday gift. I really wanted to go. I'm a McLaren girly, and they had just announced that they were going to be bringing a bunch of drivers, including Lando Norris, Pato O'Ward, David Malukas at the time, etc. Got myself a really expensive ticket. I think in total the trip was like $5K. It was that or a purse. My two interests, fashion and cars. Having the driver's experience ticket was not at all what got me into the 08. I want to make that abundantly clear. This year, I'm even going with just a general admission ticket, although I will say I did pay for valet parking this year because that is what made everything worth it last year. Forget the driver's lounge, okay? Forget the free food, okay? Forget that. Not having to worry about parking up that hill. Worth it, so worth it. Not having to hike to my car in the pitch darkness of the Sonoma Hills. Fantastic. Last year was McLaren's 60th anniversary, and so they had a big garage that was specifically their Mclaren Heritage garage. They had a ton of their historical cars, and that's where I really got to meet a lot of the Mclaren Heritage team. And basically, I don't know if it's officially titled the Heritage team. I remember them saying they were the Heritage team. They introduced themselves as the Heritage team. Their job is maintaining these cars, running these cars, packing them up, bringing them out to events like this, things like that. And so I met a lot of really cool people. But I realized that very quickly that some people on the teams were getting a little frustrated when people were just demanding and asking where Lando was, especially when they were wheeling out the chrome. Oh wait, God, the chrome looks so good in the sun. It just looks so good. I kept bringing it up to people because it just looked, when the sun would hit it, the chrome, it looks so good. Wheeling out Bruce McLaren's car to run it, and people are just asking, when's Lando coming? I think you can understand why some people that are like, jobs are these cars are, getting frustrated. And that's not to say that that's all that was happening, but it became very apparent to me as an attendee that was a lot of what I was seeing. When I started asking questions about the cars and things like that, it's because I was genuinely interested in these cars. I did not think, oh, this is my master plan of getting me in these cars, okay? I just had never seen these cars up close at this point. I had never been to a Grand Prix at this point. I just want to see these cars. This is really cool. I'm never going to be able to get this close to a current modern F1 car. Not really. So I was just asking questions and talking to anyone that would talk to me. I can't remember exactly who it was that I ended up talking to the first day that let me behind the ropes to come and look at the cars a little closer. But even then, I remember I took photos back there, and they really encouraged photos with me taking photos of the car and things like that, and taking video clips and just asking questions about the side pods and everything. Because at the time I just was still learning. And it was just a really cool experience that first day just to talk to them. And then I remember I posted photos that night, and my friend was like, how are you on that side of the rope and everyone else isn't? I was like, I talk to people. And that seems to be the ongoing thing that I am seeing, not even just from like fans, but also like other creators that are like mainly motorsports creators, is there seems to be like wanting to be asked versus wanting to ask, or like talk and like ask questions and things like that. Like they want to be invited to things versus like just asking questions. And I know that's like, obviously everyone wants to be invited to things, but like, I don't know. I just feel like there's a lack of self-starting, I guess you could say that, as far as like talking with people. Networking sounds stupid, and that's not the word, but like just like starting a conversation versus like, oh, can you let me back there? Like instead of just like asking questions. And like, again, when I started asking questions, I was not thinking that they were going to let me behind the ropes. This is a really convoluted way of me explaining this. I know. Okay. But it was just, I'm just trying to get you guys to talk to people. I'm really just doing that. Like to ask questions about cars, not just drivers and things like that. I genuinely like being in the McLaren garage, so I spent a lot of time in there. And then even going in there and spending time in there is where I met Gary and Ashley, by the way, who I still talk to, by the way, a year later. They asked if I was at Silverstone because they were at Silverstone. And I was like, no, I'm sorry, I didn't go. So I don't know if they're going to be at Velocity Invitational this year again, but let's hope. But they have been fans of F1 for 20 years. And we just got to talking and just really hit it off really well. And then we ended up making friends with Gary and everything, and talking with Rob, who was the test driver for them as well. Go and do the run. And what was really nice is that Rob is the Heritage Team test driver, okay, pro driver for McLaren now, is their test driver for these cars. He was going to be in one of the cars for both races. He's all suited up and all this stuff. He walks up to us and he's like, hey guys, come on down. Like, come down to the pit lane. Brings us down to the pit lane to watch them race. That was cool. That was really fun. I got Rob's dad. Rob's car had to be a push to start. They were telling me that his car, they'd show it's like, yeah, this engine sucks. It takes forever to get warmed up. It doesn't start working properly until it's at like 70 degrees, all this stuff. And there was an issue where they did the universal hand signal for, oh my God, stop right now, when they were trying to get the car warmed up. So they did a push to start on that one. When we were down there, Rob was like, oh, I'll see about getting you in the '08 later, because I was talking about the chrome with him earlier when they were out there running the engines. It just looked really cool in the sun. I think I said, oh, that'll be awesome, but I don't think it like really registered what he was like saying to me, because it didn't really register in my brain. And so we're like standing off to the side. We're walking up with them as they're moving the cars in. We're just standing inside the garage waiting. Rob comes back after getting changed, comes back, and he's like, oh, this is Ben. He's the lead mechanic, basically in charge of this car, and he's going to get you in the seat. Huh? Throw my bag down, like, what? Shoes off, shoes on. What do you want? Shout out Greg for getting a lot of far away footage of me. And then everyone in the team was just very sweet. And someone else there, I'm blanking on her name. It's going to drive me crazy that I forgot her name because I asked her, but I was like giddy. And so it like went over my head when you told me your name. I'm sorry. But she was wonderful. She was like, oh, do you want photos of you in the car? And so she took my phone and just took a bajillion photos of me at different angles in the car and all this stuff, which was very cool. And it's like, oh God, I was like, I'm just smiling so big in the photos because it was just really cool, because I'm like strapped in. If my hips were any bigger, I would not have fit in this car. Okay. And like it was Rob's seat for his drive for that one, for the afternoon drive, because he was going to be in the '08 in the afternoon. And so it was like the bigger seat to begin with. So honestly, if it weren't for that, I would not have fit in this car. But I'm literally wiggled all the way in. My thighs are smushed in there. Okay. So it's like, I don't even know if I could feasibly drive this thing because I don't think my legs would let me move. I was basically like mermaid tailed into this thing, but my feet were on the pedals. Like feasibly, I could have driven this thing, but I don't think it would have been a good idea. It would have been the slowest recorded lap in history is what it would have been. I was basically on my back, like barely peeking up, fully wiggled in there. I could see my feet in the pedals, but they were up there. I'm like feeling the pedals around, and like I was levitated up. So I was even higher than you normally would be because they had it on the jack at the time, I believe, because they had the tires on, but like it was just like off the ground, the car, because they were keeping them off the ground. And then to be in a helmet in that thing too, God, going that fast at that angle, anyways, clap for race car drivers. Clap for some F1 drivers today. God. They were like, oh yeah, you could take a nap in there. I was like, I might. This is actually like a comfy seat, because you're like, it's like kind of like a sleeping bag situation, but it's not a sleeping bag situation. You're just like, you're mermaid tailed in there basically. And so I wiggled out. I got out. It was Sure enough, they let Ashley sit in the 74, and she's like, she's smaller than me. She's 5'1", I'm 5'2". So she was like really in the car and all that. So we're taking photos with that, which was crazy. And then we're like, okay, we got to go eat. But we wanted to come back for the next race because they were like, oh yeah, if you guys want to come see, watch the next not race. But they were like doing like a show off, basically, like just 8 laps with these cars. And they were like, if you want to come see it from the pit lane again, just like flag. Rob was like, oh, just flag me or Gary down. Gary comes up, gets us, brings us on down. Rob was going to be in the 08, so the one that I was in. And Pato had driven that the day before, and Pato was ripping around in it, okay? He was trying to get fastest lap for that track in that car, and he was off by a second, which might as well be 5 minutes in an F1 car. It was really cool, but Gary warned me. He was like, yeah, when Lando rips by, you're going to want to plug your ears because you're going to feel like your brain is shattering. Yeah. Like it's gonna be bad. Rob was literally right behind Lando on the track, and I was like, why didn't you pass him? And he's like, because if I sneak up on him and he startles and then he spins out and then he's not racing in Vegas. And I was like, you know what? Good point. It was really cool. I'm like smiling like crazy sitting there watching these cars rip down the track. David's ripping down, TK's ripping down. It's just crazy. Ashley and Greg are like, see, that's why we like this so much. We told you we were gonna get addicted. And I was like, thanks for bestowing credit card debt on me, because now I'm not gonna be able to not want this. I'm just excited. You know, when you're excited about something and you just want to keep yapping and talking and things like that. Like, I just want to keep talking about this because like I saw these photos recently again because all of my stuff has this on here. Like, this is still one of the coolest things I have done. It probably is one of the coolest things I will ever get to do. The only thing that would probably top this is if I got to do a hot lap or if I get to actually drive an F1 car one day. Like, that's the only thing that I think could top this, because it was just such a cool experience to be in a car that won a driver's championship. And it's still something that I see that photo and I get excited about. Like, I'll never forget, I got the one of the jackets from the McLaren Reese collab, and it has McLaren at the bottom, and I was on a plane and I got out of my seat and the guy next to me was like, you have a McLaren? And I was like, not yet, but I've been in one. And I showed him this photo. Like, look, I show anyone who tells me they like F1, I'm like, oh, here you go. It's still like the coolest thing ever that I've ever done, and I probably will never be able to top it. Yes, I spent money on that trip, but like my expensive ticket did not get me that. Like, I just talked to people, being chill and asking questions and being curious about cars and the sport and everything. And I don't know, just being nice. I don't know. I got to go down to the pit lane twice that last day, once before I was in the car and once after. And it just, like, that alone too, like, that was super cool to just be hanging out, standing around with the McLaren engineers and a couple of photographers and stuff while Lando and David and all of them are ripping down the track. Like, that was, and Rob, like, we're all ripping down the track. That was really cool. That's also where I really learned the value of ear protection, because I did not have any. I still have some of those clips. I'll have to re-put some of them in because I don't think we used any of the audio for that initial video. But I just, all in all, like, this is a short video because I want this to sandwich like the actual story of me getting into the car and talking about everything. But I really, if there's anything that I can take away from this, like, I met some really great other fans that whole trip as well that I still talk to on Instagram and stuff. I don't know. I feel like also there's this thing about motorsport content creation that I'm really learning, where it's like, it's a lot of access, where it's like, what can you do for me type of thing, which I get it. You know, especially because a lot of this job, people want to see really cool things, especially because a lot of F1 is still so cloak and dagger. It's becoming better, but like, creators are getting, you know, brought behind the velvet ropes, or influencers are. And so I get, you know, okay, well, to keep my audience happy, I need to get in and get that and all of that. But it's also like, you can also just like the sport. Like, I know I made a video, but again, I made a video because I was posting like, oh my God, I got to do this thing. And everyone was like, how did that happen? Tell me how that happened. What do you mean that happened? As a content creator, I get to do really cool things and I get to share things that I love, you know, and things like that. Anyways, this is all a long drawn out way of me explaining that I really wanted to talk about being in Lewis Hamilton's Drivers' Championship winning car. Remember, they did not win the World Championship that year. And in the initial video, this irked me. I said World Championship winning car. It's not. They did not win that year. McLaren did not win. Ferrari did. I didn't think I was going to be able to get in this car when I first noticed this car. I was just like, God, the sun looks... I don't even think my photos that I got with my phone, like, captured it properly. There's a lot of IndyCar drivers that are coming. Jensen Button's going to be coming and things like that. So I don't know what's going to end up happening at Velocity Invitational, but I'm excited again. I'm hoping, I think the ragtime racers are coming back. That's another thing that I don't know if I talked about it much at this video, but the ragtime racers are like 1920s race cars that they race, which is super cool. So I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited to hopefully meet more people again because I just had a lot of fun last time, and I will show you guys all of it here on Girly Pop Go. This is obviously the Swell Entertainment background. This is not going to stay here. I don't know what I'm going to do. I had an idea of doing like a separate little pop-up wall that I could take it down and put up because obviously this is my filming setup, but obviously Girly Pop Go is developing. I don't know what this is going to be fully. I have a couple of different video ideas that I'm excited about that are in the works, and then obviously a bunch of stuff for Velocity Invitational will hopefully be coming out, and then we've got the Austin Grand Prix, we've got the Vegas Grand Prix, and we've got whatever else I've managed to finagle my way into and talk my way into, because why talk to people, ask questions, don't be afraid not to know things, because why? You want to learn, and that is okay. Anyways, do you want to see a photo of me in Lewis Hamilton's car? I don't have a sign off for this channel yet. Subscribe, like, comment, all the good stuff. You want to see more. Like I said, there's no schedule here. That's just chaotic and whatever I want. I have the helmet video coming soon of me working on the helmet from the profile picture and all of that. I'm currently working on a project for the Austin Grand Prix, an F1 hat, because I thought it'd be fun. And that's going to be it. Okay, bye.
Right there. Right, what's that?